Happy Super Bowl Sunday, guys. Back here on the MGBs again. I bought some rust treatment stuff. I'm going to put it in this trunk. Now, I've already vacuumed it out. It was still kind of wet, so I just let it dry. And I got some rust treatment stuff here. I'm not the spokesperson for this stuff, but it's called a Vapor Rust. And it's saying to do large area. What you completely clean the area, dry it, then you put the Vapor Rust in there, and you put paper towels with a piece of plastic over it and just let it sit. And it's supposed to stop rust from continuing to rust areas. So I'm going to put this stuff in here on the trunk pan, and we're going to try and stop this rust from going on, because I don't really want to have to put a trunk pan in this car. It's pretty smooth, so like I said, I just hate to let it just sit here and continue to rust when it's still in pretty good shape. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pour this stuff in there. I bought the big bottle of it. You can pick it up from, I've seen it in local car stores. So I'm just going to pour it in here. You can see that the drain plug is out of it, but it's okay. Plus the car is kind of leaning, it's on flat, I think. The real bad area is to the right. So I poured it in there. So what I'm going to do, I got some paper towels. It says use heavy duty paper towels. I really hate that it's rolling to that one corner. I think the inner tube finally blew out. Let me get a jack up under there so we can level the car off, and then I'll put this, finish putting the stuff on there. Okay, what I did was I just took the little whiny jack and wind it up on one side. So now I can go ahead and finish pouring this in here a little bit. I put the drain plug in the trunk too, so it won't drain out. Now I'm going to take these paper towels, like it says, really should have some gloves on, but I don't know, let my hands touch it. Pour a little bit more on this back corner over here. Now it says to cover it up with plastic so it won't dry. So as you can see, I completely covered the front floor with paper towels, I'm gonna get back in that corner over in there a little bit more, and then I'm going to sorry about that. Kind of a windy day, but it was a nice, beautiful day today. No rain, no real cold weather today. A little bit more where this wire is. Now I'm gonna take this plastic I got. Take this spare thing down here. Completely cover it with plastic. Try and get that corner back up on there. It says to cover it so air can't get to it. So what I'm gonna do is put some stuff back there for some weight. Probably put probably one of these spare tires back there. Round up some bricks. Also, what I'll do is put one of these tires in there. Blew out rusted tire. And then I'll close the trunk up. We'll let it sit. Let it sit for, I think, at least 12 hours. So we'll let it sit. Close it back up. You know it didn't close it. On the way. Now, what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna put some on the floors in here. Really at the front is it's bad. I hate it. It got dark out here now, but we'll get a light. And I'm gonna vacuum that junk out of there, and we'll pour some on the floor. So after cleaning this side up, I noticed this is actually a floor pan somebody has screwed in. If you look over here, there's screws down the line the sides, and it's got some little rot right there on this inner part of the frame. They put a floor pan up under the seat all the way to the back seat, so they just basically screwed it in. So if I can get the seat to go back forward. So you can see the screws So I vacuumed it out, and come to find out it's got a floor pan screwed onto it. I don't know how the bottom, I think I looked under the bottom. It wasn't bad. Surface rust. Yeah, I think that don't go nowhere. I think there's some rust. Yeah, you can feel the bottom of the floor pan. So somebody has rigged up a floor pan on top of the rust. Looking at the rest of the car, it looks solid. I looked at it when we had it up on the dolly. That's the old tailpipe hanging down. So I'll just pour some of that stuff on top of this floor pan, and try and save it. At least I know that someone has been doctoring on it. Try and get up. It messed around, got dark on me now. So I'm gonna pour a little of that stuff on there and get it covered up. We'll just let it sit. At least try and save this floor pan they put on there. So we'll do that, let it sit, and get back to it. So I poured some in there and I let it sit so it can soak up on the paper towels, and I'm going to cover it with some plastic, and I poured it back here at the back up under the seat back here, and I just let it roll down. I got the seat locked, but you get the idea. So I'm going to cover it with some plastic, and we'll let it sit and come back to it a little bit later, see what kind of stuff have we got. So, alright. So, I rinsed the trunk out. On the rust inhibitor bottle, it said to rinse it out with water and then let dry. So I took my wire brush and kind of scrubbed it before I rinsed it out. And as you can see, it's still kind of damp a little bit, but I'm going to let it dry, and then I'm going to put some, probably some primer or some rubber undercoating or something in it, just to keep the rust from coming back. But I've been working on the inside. I got this floorboard here all cleaned out and dried up, and I just removed the back seat, and I'm gonna see what it looks like down in the battery tray. So far, interior wise, the seats are pretty decent. I kind of rubbed that one down, and I removed the spark plugs, because what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick a battery in it, and we're going to see will this thing turn over, and that'll let me know that all the electronics is working and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this back panel where the battery goes, and we'll see about getting a battery down in there. So let's take this panel up and see what's up under there. Hopefully that don't jump out at me. Definitely a battery, small top post battery. Thing's got 2 battery trays for some reason. That's actually the ground. Somebody robbed the cable wheel off of it. Ow. Got a little one there. I'll let you guys look in there. So there is an old top post battery, and it has a cable that runs over here to the other side. I'm thinking, let's see, that is the positive cable. For some reason it's disconnected on that side. But it's got an old Napa battery in there. Look at that. That thing is dusty. So let's try to figure out where that cable goes. See, there's the rear end back there. So all this is basically open through the back. Kind of weird, but let's see, can we figure out where this cable goes, and we'll try and get a battery in there. So basically, I don't have a battery that small, so I'm going to have to hook some jumper cables to a good battery that I have. And run it that way. I found out that extra cable was actually a ground cable that they disconnected and made a new connection going to the frame. So let's put these jumper cables on it. And we'll spin it over. Hopefully the starter and everything works. Solenoid. Okay, here we go. Don't see any interior light. Got a connection. Let's turn the key on and see what we find here. Alright. Hopefully we have something. Some kind of buzz or noise or something. Let's see. Nothing. So that's totally dead. So something is either unhooked or we don't have a good connection, or maybe those jumper cables is just too bad. Let's go out here. See what we got. Basically, it looks like everything is connected. Fuses. So I'll tell you what, let's just try and play around with these cables and see what that does. I don't know why we get anything. We should have. So thing's been sitting for a long time. Of course, these cables might not be any good. So it's in neutral. I hear something. Actually, I hear the fuel pump. I don't know if you heard that. The fuel pump actually works. You can hear it. Wow. But we have no start. Fuel pump works. Do we have lights? Any lights? I really hate that fuel pump. Uh-oh. I heard something. Something clicked. Whoa. I heard the transmission fluid. It turns over. And it shot transmission fluid all the way out of the car. I meant to put something up there. But starter start working. I can hear the fuel pump pressure letting off. So let me get some rags and we will try and put something over that transmission fluid in those plug holes. transmission fluid everywhere. We know we got starter. I think the key switch just got like a little short in it, but it'll probably clear out after a while. What I'm going to do, we're trying to put these rags here. Let that catch some of the transmission fluid, and I'll turn it over, let you guys hear it turn over. Now, I don't have any belts on it. I'm trying to move you guys away so it won't get transmission fluid all over the camera. Let's see here. Maybe do it like that. Turns over pretty good. So we know the starter works. We know the key switch works. I didn't have any lights. I wonder, do we have fire? Let's see if we got any spark. Let's get a spark plug and stick it in. And that'll be another trick. See if we got any spark coming out of there. Maybe you can see that from back here. I can't see it. I guess if I reach across the seat, maybe I can see it. It's kind of hard for me to see. You guys will see all the action. Let me see if I can reach across the seat. It's over pretty good. Compression wise, that's another story. Let's see if I can see that. Any fire? No fire. So, what could that be? Points? Pretty sure this is points model. Or it can be a fuse. Let's see if we got any compression. How about that? Then we'll worry about fire. So I'll get the compression gauge. Alright, so I got the compression gauge. I think it's cylinder 1. Let's see what we got. Starter sounds weak. Probably because of the way I got the battery set up, but it's drooping. And it's gone. Really need to get the turnover faster than that. Let me get some better cables on the battery and then we'll try it again. So I got some better jumper cables and got the boost pack hooked to it. Let's see what it do now. Looks like we got about 80 psi. I mean, I'm pretty sure the rings are not seated yet, but it got up to like, well, excuse me, it got up to like 90 psi. So that's pretty decent. I mean, being that the rings are not seated. So I don't know exactly what the compression specs are on these cylinders. Let's see what this other one does. like I said, I don't know the history of this thing. I know it's been sitting since the 90s. I don't know if it had engine problems. It was bought in a package deal, so I really don't know the whole story on it. Let's see what this does. Glare out of there. Alright, so this will be cylinder 2, I guess. Let's see what it does. I don't know the firing order yet. Uh-oh. I think my battery has ran down over there. Let's get a better battery supply. Alright, I had to fight the ground cable. I was losing ground, sparks everywhere back there. So, let's see what cylinder 2 do now. That one really went up. That one went up to... that one went up to like 210. And bagging on down. So the other one, the rings are probably not seated yet. Probably a little stuck. I probably have to put a little lubricant down it, but it went up to 90, so which is pretty decent for a motor that's been sitting for 3 or 4 decades. Let's see what number 3 will do. You guys, I think I didn't have it tied in good enough, and it was seeping air out of there. Let's get you guys tied in there good. Man, that one was off the chart. So let's see where this one goes. Okay, fire in the hole. That one went up to 150, kind of bagging down a little bit, but she went up to 150. So we know that one's got something. So let's try, I think this is number 4. Get it screwed in there. Oh, come on. Hard time here. There we go. Screwed in there pretty tight. We might retry number 1 just to see if anything break free. Fire and hold. That one went on up there. It's about 150. So let's try number 1 again. Now I know it has oil in the bottom end because I checked it a couple weeks ago. So let's go back to number 1. check it for a spark, which I think this is points model. Pretty sure it is. It's early model, 73. So I think all the later ones were electronic. You got it kind of upside down there, but let's see. That one only goes up to like 90. Could be kind of a stuck ring. Well, actually no, it didn't. I think it went up to 120. I can't tell. I think it did pop on up there, folks. It's hard for me to see, and the way the hood's made. Oh yeah, she went up to 150. It's actually 150, so that's good. So this cylinder did break free after a while because it actually went up to 90. So yes, so we know we got good compression on all the cylinders. So now it's time to check and see why we don't have fire, which is probably going to be a points issue. Sorry. So let's go to the other side and we'll check the distributor cap motor. So now we're at the distributor. Let's take this cap off. Yeah. That's one. Reach around there and get the other one. I swear you bump your head on these cars a lot. Look at this. So low. Let's get a screwdriver and pop that off of there. Can't really see on that side. Where are you, Mr. Clip? I think we got it. No. This clip is somewhat rusted onto the distributor cap. Okay, there we go. Alright. Let's see what we got in here. Okay, we got a little rotor button and there is some points. Rotor button looks brand new. And inside the cap looks brand new. So it looks like it's got a fairly decent points in distributor. I mean points in condenser. Oh, they need to be fouled. Oh yeah, they're pitted bad. They got some gangrene or something on the points. So see, can we get that cleaned off? Got a piece of emery cloth. Stick down in there and sand those. They got a lot of little corrosion on them. Let's see if we can pull them over with this screwdriver. hard to get down in there. It's got a little pit right there. Some gangrene or something. Can't get off of there. Let's try it one more time. Flip it over. Been so long since I messed with a points model. This never can get too old. Alright, they're clean. So I guess what I can do, I don't know how to jump the solenoid for the starter. Like I say, I ain't too familiar with these. So I guess I can just turn it over and you guys see the action. I'm going to turn this light out. And I guess you can see if there's some spark. Not sure. I just have to play the video back. So I hope you guys seen something because I couldn't see. But I'll get my lovely assistant out here and get her to turn it over, that way I can see. Ready? Yes, do it. And it's got spark. Alright, we know we got spark at the points. So let's see what we got at the spark plug. That's something new. Got in here, the blower was on. Yes. We have spark at the spark plug. So, we got fire and we got spark. So now I just got to figure out the firing order. And we're trying to shoot some gas at it and see what it even cranks. It's going to be loud because the exhaust is rusted off of it. So let me get these spark plugs back in fire order, and then we'll hop over to the carburetor side. So I'm on this side where the carburetors are. I'm gonna pop these breathers off and see what's behind them. Now the fuel pump was coming on, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna have tanks and tanks of bad gas. I don't think I hear it coming on anymore, so. No, when I just went in there, the blower motor was blowing. There. Nice looking air filters in there. Set that to the side. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to shoot a little starting fluid at it. Because still got to do the fuel system. I don't know how good these carburetors are. They're probably all gummed up. So what I'm thinking about doing is actually taking the rebuilt carburetors off the other car, and we'll stick them over on here and run an electric fuel pump Alright, let's see what she does. Be loud. Not that loud. So we know we got power. Not as loud as I thought. She wants to run, don't she? So, we got compression to run just by spraying little brake cleaner at it, starting fluid, whatever we want to call it. So, now we just got to get some fuel going to it. Now, the water pump is locked up. I guess I'll just go ahead and buy a new water pump for it because it's toast. It is totally locked up. So, but we can always get it running. You know, don't let it get too hot. Let's see, what can we do? What can we do? Should we go further with it? Should we try and hook up a electric fuel pump? I got one, but I don't know if it's any good. But we could try and hook up an electric fuel pump. Let's just go further with it. How about that? Saturday night. So let me get all this stuff situated, and man, it got smoky in here. And we'll move forward. Well, unfortunately, folks, I was going to hook up my little electric fuel pump here, but it's then took a crap. It's locked up, so I'm gonna have to get one. Unfortunately, we won't be able to put any fuel to it because fuel pump locked up, my electric one, and I don't hear the one in the trunk that's really up under the car come on anymore, which I don't know if that tank is full of bad gas. So we're just gonna put this on hold till tomorrow. At least we know we got fire and we got ignition as far as the starter working, and we know we got compression. So those three things right there is a win. So I will get a electric fuel pump and we will try and make this thing run on its own. So let's just keep eyes and ears open. So now I'm up under the car. This exhaust is broken. You can see the pipe is broken off where it goes to the back. So what I'm going to do is got some exhaust. We dug through the shop. Let me get up here. Oh. We dug through the shop and found some exhaust that came off of a MG, and it's cut off right where it goes up to the header. Here's another one here. So I'm going to try and configure this exhaust up under the car and hang it up at the back, so at least when I get ready to crank it, it won't be so loud. We can really hear the engine and hear how it sounds. I did talk to him. I think he told me this engine might have been rebuilt because it's a blue engine. So at one time or another it could have been rebuilt. So anyway, what I'm going to do is try and get this exhaust up under there and get that taken care of, and then we'll move on to something else. So this pipe must have got caught on something and it bent it at an angle. So what I did, I put a piece of 4x4 wood between the frame and the pipe, and I'm going to try and bend this angle. It's on an angle right there. Try and bend that back straight. So I'm going to stick a long bar in there. Hopefully I don't break nothing. Might be so rusty it might just break off. Then it goes a little bit straighter. Just leverage. There we go. It really needs to go up. Up might be a problem. Well, I might be up. Try and bend it a little bit straighter, I guess. It's working. Now I should put like a piece of wood over the top of it, but I could put the floor jack up under it, put a piece of wood over the top right here, and take the floor jack up on it. I got this bottom piece, but it's at an angle too, but I can probably cut it off straight. Mike can bend it over a hair more. I think what I need to do is just go ahead and hang the exhaust stuff on this end, and then we can see exactly where I need to bend it before I do anything else. So we get something to hang this pipe up, muffle up back here, and then we'll go from there. Getting close. So now I got the muffler temporarily hanging up. I'm going to try and see how far off with my pipe filling manifold. That is on an angle. This really needs to cut off here and a pipe put in to go over to there, and then bend this pipe here up. This is just a temporary pipe. So now, let's see, I don't know if that's going well. Still, this pipe needs to come over towards me some. And that will bring it in line with this part. And it's going to be kind of ugly, but the only other option I have is, I do have a header pipe that bolts up to the manifold, but the bolts look kind of rusty. So, let me see if I can bring this over to there. Not going to work the way I want it to. Cool if I can shove that in there. Now, I'm not a muffler professional, just trying to make something work. So I might be able to cut this off here and shove it in there. I think I've got a piece that will slide over that. So let me do some more head scratching and we'll figure something out. Shortly but surely we will figure something out. So instead of using that real long pipe, I got this muffler here that's just this piece, and it's kind of flared out right here. You can tell because this is like probably 2 inch and they flared it out to 2.5. What I'm going to do, it's still got the hanger here, so I'm going to actually cut off that piece that's kind of mangled. Show you guys real quick. This piece here is kind of mangled up from where the pipe broke off. I don't know if you can see that. But I'm going to cut it off to here where this is welded on. This is like probably 2 inch. So I'm going to cut it off here and I'm going to slide it, the muffler over there, over that. And then I'm going to hang it right here on the back side of the frame. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's kind of dark back here. But right up under the frame. Let's see, can we get some light there? Show you where I'm hanging it. Got stuff everywhere. Right up under the frame, right here. Get up there. I'm gonna hang it right here under that. Looks like a extra battery box. So the muffler will actually come out pointing up under the axle, right up in there, over there, and it should just slide. I would think it would slide right over that when I cut that off. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the saw. We're gonna whack that off of there, and see where that slide up on there. It's rust. Safety glasses are time for a new saw blade. I'd say it's time for a new saw blade. Didn't cut exactly oval shape as I would thought it would have. This pipe is kind of bent. I don't really want to cut it back any more than that, but it looks pretty good. It's got like a little snag there, but I think that pipe will slide right up on there. So let's get the muffler. So I cut it back as far as I could. So let's get the muffler and see what slides up on there. Should work out. Oh yeah, just as I thought. Slide right up on there. Put a clamp on it, which I've got a clamp. Gonna hang kind of low, but I can bend it up. Like I say, that pipe is kind of crinkled. Right here, you can see where it's kind of crinkled up. Right there where it bent. So it caught something. When I got the car, it had a muffler on it, but the pipe was broken off right here in the middle. So we just cut it off. But I'm thinking I can take like a piece of wood and stick it up here and take the jack and jack it up, but I don't think it's going to matter because this pipe here, the pipe right there has a drop down to it. But basically that's where I'm going to hang it. It's right there on the frame. I could put a, well, I'm going to have to take that piece off anyway because this is like part of a car or something. Well, we know the car was red, so we'll unbolt that, and I'll probably just either drill a hole or I think I got a muffler strap. Probably just drill a hole right there, and right here where that bolt is there, it's already flat. We can just bolt it right on the side of this ledge right there. And I might try and put the piece of wood over it and bend it up. I might try that, and then if that don't work, we'll just hang it up as far as we can get it. As you can see, it's kind of low, but it's better than messing with that piece over there. And I don't think I can get those bolts loose up on the manifold. They're kind of rusty, so anyway, let me do some brainstorming on this, get all this hooked up, and I'll show you what it looks like. So let me show you what I came up with. I didn't actually drill a hole and mount it through the frame. I actually just stuck a piece of baling wire on there for now, but it is solid. And I got a clamp up here, clamping the pipe on. So, and it's kind of pointing at an angle up towards the gas tank, but it's away from it. I mean, I don't think it's going to be any flame shooting out. The gas in that tank is old and gummy, so shouldn't be a hazard, but it is solid. So now I will let it down and we will move on trying to get some gas to the carburetors. And I think the throttle cable was stuck. That's your choke cable there. So I think the throttle cable, I don't know if it's hooked up. I don't know if it's stuck or not. Let's see what it does. I hate to crank this thing up and it sticks wide open. I don't think it's stuck. Could be. Anything moving? Actually, the throttle cable is not hooked up. I think that other cable is the choke. This is the actual throttle cable here. So it's supposed to hook. I think it had like a one of those little barrel things right here, and the cable slid through it. Should be able to do this. So yeah, that's free. And this will be your choke cable here. But flaps is moving. So what we'll have to do is find something to slide. Probably take it off the other car out there, the 68 model. I think it has that piece. But mainly I'm probably going to be just operating it right here for right now. Well, I got to be in there to crank it up. Unless I run a wire from the starter up to the where I can crank it under the hood. So, are these slides stuck? Yeah, well, that one moved. This one over here is kind of stuck. That slide is stuck. My plan was to snatch the carburetors off the other car since they've been rebuilt and throw them on there, which is probably still what I'm going to do. These carburetors are probably so gummed up that they're probably not going to do anything. So what I'm going to do, I go out back, snatch these carbs off the other car, and because I'm taking the intake off of it anyway to put the Weber on. So I'm going to go out there, snatch those carbs off the other car, and we'll put them on there, and then we'll be able to run some fuel to it. And don't have to worry about these slides, because that one there is stuck. That one's trying to move. I don't know if it's really worth trying to run gas through. Well, that one moved up. And went back down. I don't know. Maybe I'll try and run some fuel through them. If it don't run right, then we can always go snatch the other ones off. Both of those are moving, so the diaphragms are good. So I guess let me run a wire from the starter up to where I can crank it without being in the car, and then we'll go from there. So I thought about it. I said, let's just go ahead and remove these carburetors. They're probably all gummed up anyway. And so I went ahead and removed them. Them the ones that was originally on there. And went out back and got the SU carbs off the 68 model, which has been freshly rebuilt. I think he said he probably ran them like one time, so they should just go on. Don't need any adjustments. Didn't smell any gas in them, so I think they're completely empty. So we're just gonna go ahead and swap them out anyway. That way we can make it run real good. So I know those carburetors are probably trash, need to be rebuilt, or if they ain't all deteriorated on the inside. So let me get these SU carbs on there, and then we'll move on with getting it started. Alright, so now I have the brand new low pressure electric fuel pump, and I had to run 1/4-inch hose because that's all I had, but at least I had a fitting that would fit into the fuel pump. And I got it running around, going over to the carbs. So over here, we got the fuel inlet there. I went ahead and took the throttle cable off the other car because the one that was on here was sticking. So I couldn't get the choke cable though. Choke cables, it was working, and then it froze up. So I guess we'll just have to manual choke it. Right now the choke is off because it's down. Everything on this side is hooked up. I just got to put the breather tubes on the carbs. They hang down. I went ahead and changed the backing plate off the other engine. All that stuff was new gaskets, so everything stayed on there. So right now I'm just mainly hooking up the fuel system. I got a 2-gallon can. I'm gonna sit right here. I just got to put a hose on here and a fitting, run it to the can, and then we're going to just wire straight into the fuse box. So when you turn the key on, the fuel pump will come on. So we're getting there. So I don't want to bore you guys with all the swap over, which it took me a minute to get the old carburetors off and get everything over on this one off the other car. So I know you guys just really want to hear it run, so I just skipped all that. And so I'm going to hook all this fuel pump stuff up, and then we'll get ready to rocking and rolling. Alright folks, let's see what she's going to do. I got the fuel system hooked up. Electric fuel pump. And we lost my gas. Guess I need to put the choke on a little bit. Almost. Almost. We're getting there. Well, I think my battery's getting weak. Put the choke all the way on and see what happens. I guess it would do better with the choke on. bit. She wants to run on her own now. But the engine sounds real good. Kind of smoky in here, folks. Now see what's good. Out it up just a little bit more. But there's no knock, there's no rattle in the engine, so that's good. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit more adjusting on those carbs. I guess they've just been sitting for so long, and I'm gonna have to just play with them. But it does run. It does want to idle. Engine sounds good though. With my makeshift exhaust, it really sounds good and quiet. So we'll cut that off. So anyway, it runs. It does run. Like I say, just a little bit more adjusting and tuning. I think she's going to turn out to be a pretty good engine, and it's going to turn out to be a pretty good car. So just stay tuned in, and we'll have more updates on it. We'll get some brakes on it, and see if the clutch work goes through the gears. And like I say, we'll go from there. So, good night. Alright guys, it's another rainy day. Got the MG scooted over. I got to do something about this water pump issue, so I brought the convertible in. Even though I'm going to be changing the engine, this one's got a good water pump on it. It's not locked up, where this one, the water pump is, I don't know if you can see it. If you watch the first video, you can probably see it. This one's seized up. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull the water pump off of this one and put it over on that one, so we can at least put some coolant in it and run it. I did think I found out what my problem is, the reason why it was idling funny and idling up and down. There's a hole, boat hole right here where my finger is. It was a bracket there, and I took that boat out and left it out, so I'm believing it's got a vacuum leak in that hole right there. So I'm going to stick the boat back in there and then crank it back up. One more problem I found. When I moved it, it had a puddle of oil up under it from running it. And you can see it's oil all over the side of the engine. This valve cover is loose. You see that? It is just not bolted down. The grommets are not even tight. So I'm going to address that issue too. Bolt the valve cover down tight. Try and swap this water pump over. And we'll go from there. So let me get all that stuff swapped over. We'll put the belt back on and the fan and stuff back on, and then we'll try and run it again and see how it runs. So I got the water pump removed. Looks like a decent water pump, wasn't leaking or anything. Still had fresh antifreeze in the engine. So what I did, I pulled the valve cover off, and someone has put a head on this engine. I don't know if they put a new head on the bottom end that had bad rings or something, or high miles, which I think the car's only got 87,000 miles, I think. Who knows, but I know they told me it smoked real bad. But you can see the head is real clean, so that head is probably still good. Now whether it's cracked or not, that's a different story. But the oil, the spark plugs, I pulled them out and they were just caked with oil. So now we got the water pump off of that. I'm going to go ahead and snatch the water pump off of this one, which is locked up, and we'll put the water pump over on that one. That's a good thing about these MGs. They use the same engine for years, so a lot of stuff interchange on them. So I'm gonna go ahead and snatch that water pump off, and we'll try and get her fired up again. Well, while I got the MG in here, I might as well, the convertible rather, might as well go ahead and change out this broken valve stem. So I'm using my my late model tire breakdown machine from the 1800s. So basically you just use it, it's supposed to be bolted on the floor, but I move it around a lot, so I use it on light duty stuff. But you just screw this little contraption down to hold the wheel tight, and you just use the press to press around the bead. So I just use it to hold it down while I put a new valve stem in it, because the tire that's on the back of the convertible, it leaks down like every day. So this one just needed a valve stem, so we'll get this valve stem, get the tire back on the bead rather, and we'll go ahead and put it on there and take that old leaky dry rotted flat one off. Alright guys, so I swapped out the water pump, as you can see. Ooh, that's kind of bright. Took the fan off the other car because the other one's all rusty looking. Found out the valve cover had a rust hole in it, and it was pouring oil out even after I sealed it up. So I ended up changing the valve cover off of the convertible, and I removed the air conditioning compressor setup because I couldn't adjust the alternator belt even after I got another belt. So I just took all that junk off and I pressure washed it real good. Got all that oil and stuff off. I still got to change the oil, but I'm letting my battery crank up. I tried to crank it and I left the switch on with my battery set up, and it ran the battery down. And also, I found out I had a vacuum leak right here at the screw. That screw right, I can point to it. The screw right there I had left out because there was a bracket there for the old carburetors, and that hole actually goes all the way through the intake. So that will probably where my vacuum leak was coming from, the reason why it was idling up and down, up and down. So I have the radiator, I cleaned it out. I got a new bottom hose and top hose for it, and I'm about to put it in, and then we'll fire it up. So by that time my battery should be charged, and we ought to be good to go. So let me get the radiator in, we'll get some coolant, that way we can run it a little longer than we did at first when it wasn't running right, and actually see how this thing runs. The temperature gauge work. Like a Volkswagen. Let's see what you restart. It is working. It's about 30-something degrees outside. As you can see, the temperature is not even all the way over normal yet. Got good oil pressure, about 50, well, yeah, about 50 idling. Not even smoking, just a little bit. Whoa! Well, it runs. We don't see anything bubbling over up here, so I guess I can put the radiator cap back on. She sounds good, real good. So there you have it. It runs. It's a winner. So just stay tuned. We'll get the brakes working on it, get the clutch working on it. I'm gonna do something with the exhaust, try and get it hung up higher, and then we'll take this baby down the road. All right. So I decided to push it outside, see was the sound a lot better instead of being echo in the shop. All right, so just a little outside tidbit. And thank you subscribers that subscribe this week. Getting a lot of comments, a lot of viewers on the video I'm making, and a lot of stuff coming up in the future. So just stay tuned and see what's more to come. Like I say, we're gonna get this thing out on the road, and we'll see what she do. And then we'll get that one going. All right, thank you, subscribers.